What's up guys, so this is a Vermintide 2 before you leave the keep video. So this is just going to be about explaining some of the changes, mostly from Vermintide 1 to 2. And this video I'm going to keep it as spoiler free as possible. There's no gameplay, I'm not going to show you the keep, I'm only going to show you some menus. So the idea is you can watch this while you're downloading the game, get a jump start on the changes, but not really have anything spoiled for you. And this is on a beta build, so some of these things are hopefully likely to change. So, you know, if something's wrong, sorry about that. The first thing that's going to happen when you load in your initial setup, it's probably going to ask you to change to set your gamma. A lot of people have been setting their gamma pretty low for this game, lower than for the first one, because it tends to be a lot brighter, and a lot of people have liked setting the gamma lower, so you might want to do that. And the keybinding system, the back end is changed, so some people have found that you need to have a keybind for everything. So like right now, I don't use jump dodge. This is just, I had to place a garbage keybind in here for these other two, my other two jump things to work. So that's just something to be aware of. And make sure you set your network up to the maximum the first time that you load in. Otherwise, after that, you'll go to be prompted for a hero selection. And so now we'll talk about the careers. You level up your hero. You don't level the careers, right? So I'm the same level for all three Sienna careers. So that's nice to know. But then you're a completely different level for all the other careers. So that's how the careers work. You'll load up in the game. You'll go to your first map. You'll push M, or you'll go to a location in the inn. This story mode is exactly the same. Lobby browser exactly the same. There's a new quick play option. Basically, the quick play is going to push your loot one tier higher at the end of the map. You're going to get a one tier higher loot box, basically, if you choose a quick play. And this is going to jump. It's just going to drop you into some random game somewhere at the difficulty you specify, random map. So it's the quickest way to get a team. That's the idea. Now, after you get back, you're going to get some loot. Now, when you get loot, it's going to come in these loot boxes, and tomes, all three tomes are going to push your loot box one tier higher. Both Grims are going to push it one tier higher. The quick play should, I think, push it one tier higher. And then you just have loot dice and then a luck, like, you know, an RNG element where it might go higher than that. There are, I believe, 5 or 6 tiers. But what matters more than the tier of the box, that matters, but also the tier, the level of the player. As you get to higher and higher levels, you'll get better and better loot. Now, if you gain a loot box for one character, you can unlock it for any character. It's going to show up here. This is where your loot boxes are going to show up. But right now I'm playing as Sienna, so everything I open will be either a trinket, a crafting supply, or an item for Sienna. Every single thing. I will never get any elf items if I'm playing Sienna. If I want to get an elf item, I have to go change characters to the elf and then open the box as the elf. So this way you have a little bit of control over the loot that you get, and that's probably pretty good. Next, we're going to go to your inventory. You can press I, or you can look around in the keep, and you can find an equipment station and things like that. The weapons are, you know, basically the same as Vermintide 1. We have oranges and blues and greens and whites. There are now properties instead of traits, but the properties do basically the same thing that traits did, more or less. And there are still traits. You'll see here, this one has the hunter trait. It's just kind of a special property. And one thing you may have noticed is the power. So power is the way Vermintide 2 calculates damage. Your damage is scaled linearly based off of this number. So the more power you have, the more damage you'll do. Now that's useful for some things, but not for everything. Like for your melee weapons, it's either going to take you, for example, 2 or 3 swings to kill a rat. And if you could get 50 more power, but if that 50 more power doesn't cross you past that threshold, where now it only takes you 2 swings to kill a rat, it's, you know, it didn't really do anything for you. Whereas like for your staffs and things like that, that aren't integer based, their attacks aren't integer based, it might be a little bit more useful. The trinkets are new. You can see here, the trinkets come in rarities. They're items just like any other item now. They're not like a lich bone and a gas trinket, whatever. The trinkets have properties, and they'll have similar properties to your lich bone and things like that. It's called curse reduction and movement speed and whatever. It seems like different trinkets can roll different properties. I'm not entirely sure about how that works. But now they're just like regular items. And you can put them on any character. So one of the things that some people have suggested is maybe play a single character up to a higher level, maybe like level 10, and then you can get a little bit stronger trinkets, so you can jump in. So when you jump in with your new characters, your level 1s, you can at least kind of be ahead of the ball game with some a little bit better trinkets. You can do a little bit more damage. Now, in general, though, I think properties are more important than power. If given the choice, I would always choose a property over power, a property that I like and that I think is good over like 20, 30 more power. So there is also a power cap. We're not sure where that is. We suspect that the power cap is at level 25 or 30 for this reason. The highest talent that you can get in the talent tree is up to level 25. So we suspect the power cap is probably around there. It's not going to take you very long to get there. There's people who've done it in a single weekend on the beta that have maxed out their talent trees. You'll still gain levels after 25, but your power, you reach a point where it doesn't go up anymore. You know, so like a level 1000 isn't going to still be gaining, you know, damage, presumably. Now, these, you can switch out your talents, you know, super quickly. There's no, there's like no investment or no cost to respec your character or anything. And since you level up Sienna all at once, all 3 of my Sienna characters, they're all at level 14. So I have the first 2 traits unlocked on all 3 of the different Sienna careers. Next, we'll talk about crafting. The way crafting works is similar to Vermintide 1. You can salvage and then you can craft. So if I wanted to make a new beam staff, or I'm sorry, bolt staff, I could do this, use that stuff, and I would get a green bolt staff. And then I could salvage that green bolt staff, and I would get some green stuff. See, so I got it wasn't green, but it was a very high-powered white. You can see it's even higher than my orange. Here is how you roll traits. Now, interestingly, it looks like you need to have blue dust in addition to orange dust. I'm sorry, green dust to roll properties. And then here's one to roll traits. So very similar, very straightforward. Better than Vermintide 1 because now you can choose what kind of base weapon you want. So it's much better than the prey function, which was not very good. So crafting's great. The cosmetics and heroic deeds are not actually available on the beta. However, I will tell you that I did figure out a way to put on a different hat. So like each of the careers has a distinct hat, and I figured out a way that you can change the hats. So you could put the Unchained hat on the Pyromancer, for example. Not sure if that's going to make it to live, but it's possible to do in the beta. And so now I want to transition to just kind of some general advice, just some things you might want to know before you start up the game. One is that this game tends to be much harder than the first one. There's a lot more different variety of enemies. There's some new things that we haven't seen. The attack patterns of the enemies are a lot more aggressive. So a lot of people would probably recommend to play on normal for a little bit until you get some stronger items and until you get more experience with the game. Another thing is there's a big damage disparity between like a level 14, for example, and a level 1. I'm going to do a lot more damage than a level 1 character. I haven't sat down and figured out exactly how much, but I think it's kind of substantial though. The power that you're going to gain as you level up so that you can move and transition naturally into the higher difficulties. Now, another new thing about this game is there are now blocking angles. So if we look at this thing, you see right below my stamina, I can't point at it with the mouse, but you could see there's like a shield and like a circle. That is the angle that I can block for less stamina. If I get hit from anywhere outside of that angle, it costs me no more stamina to block that hit. So it's still 360 block, but it's very expensive to block hits from behind you now. Same when it comes to pushing as well. Now, if you have like a shield, for example, that's almost a 180-degree arc, whereas these swords you can see are, what, like a 90-degree arc? Something like that. So different weapons have a different stamina and different block angle. In addition, there are now criticals. You might see on one of my properties, I might have something that has a critical chance. I guess not. Criticals are the new Killing Blow, basically, but they're better than Killing Blow because now you can get properties and you can get talents that increase your chance to deal a critical, but also the damage that a critical does. So now Fat Shark can tweak it a little bit better than they could the old Killing Blow, because instead of just changing the proc chance, now they can change the proc chance, they can tweak, and they can tweak how much damage it does. So I think it's in a better place. And then there's also a new potion. This might be kind of spoilery, but if when you see it, you're going to ask, what does it do? Well, there's a new potion that's called a Potion of Concentration. It is purple, And what on my HUD is purple? It is my special ability. So the Potion of Concentration, basically, after a few seconds, it lets you cast another special, and that's basically what it does. So I cast a special, and then if I were to drink a Potion of Concentration right now, it would fill my bar up very quickly, kind of like a speed potion. It's a similar sounding effect and everything, and then I'll be able to cast another special. So those are kind of an overview of the changes between Vermintide 1 and 2. I hope you guys enjoy this. And I apologize if anything was wrong or it was incorrect. I might be mistaken. I've only played for a few hours, and this is the beta build that I'm doing this on now. Things are probably likely to change between now and release. So I hope you guys enjoy.